Hey, this your boy Frank Gore. I'm listening to 49er Rush. Niners all day. Let's bring 6 home, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. I love it, man.
It's time for the 49ers Rush podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? It is absolutely incredible to be with you guys. Tuesdays mean one thing. The freaking fantastic duo, I don't know what we should call ourselves, the John and Wayne show, which, Wayne, I got to be honest with you.
Dynamic duo. I like dynamic because we literally belong in a superhero villain movie.
I'm the villain. I'm always the villain, man.
No, man, I'm the sidekick. You're the superhero, right? And it's so cool because this weekend I really felt like we were like tag team perfect. Honestly, I like you went off and did your thing, and all I wanted to do was do my assignment. I'm really good when you give me an assignment. I want to get it done. Period.
My favorite part where I was like, Wayne, take over the damn stage, and you just went and did your thing, man.
But the way you came and said, Wayne, take over the damn stage. I'm like, do I really? No. Listen. If you guys haven't been to a 49ers Rush road trip event, when I tell you you're missing out on one of the greatest experiences of a lifetime. Everything that's going on 49ers is great, but there's nothing greater. Are you guys looking at me? Because I'm not even looking. I'm looking dead into my camera. The experience is none other. It is catastrophically through the universe. And when I was there, like, I really felt like, oh, snap, I can't miss any more of these. Like, I can't. And I realized because the energy was great. But when John asked me to take over on the stage, I kind of pushed back a little bit. I didn't want to. But then when he just put the mic in my hand, we transformed. It was a transformation. It was like I did Optimus Prime.
I love it, man. It was such a good weekend. Look at we got Judd in the house. Judd was killing all weekend.
First of all, Judd, I'm trying to figure out
best people,
like
man.
I want to get a budget like Judd because the moment he walked in, it was on and popping. And he said that he was leaving with this jersey, and that jersey.
He did.
And he did.
He did.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I think he won an autographed Greenlaw jersey,
back to back,
Williams jersey,
back to back.
He won another one too. But anyway, we gave away a lot of stuff this weekend. Check this out, man. Look at this picture. How cool is this, man? If you're not, so we'll explain this real quick. This is Frank Gore shows up. We had about 400 people in attendance that night, which was so cool. And as soon as he walks in, like, we bring him up on the stage to sign autographs and take pictures with people. And he like pushes the table out of the way and just walks right down into the audience and just starts like hanging out with everybody. It was so cool. It was a great weekend. Now, the Rush road trip was a huge success. We're excited for the Seattle trip. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I want to focus our attention on this game. Let's talk about the 49ers taking over the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the poll question today, Wayne, and I want you to answer this. And, I asked a simple question. Which 49ers win was more dominant this year? The 42-10 win against the Cowboys at home or the 34-3 win at Jacksonville on the road? Right now, the poll, 55% are saying Jaguars in the chat. So my question to you, let's start this off. What was the more dominating win for the 49ers, Cowboys or on the road versus the Jags?
I mean, anytime you beat the Cowboys, man, it takes precedent.
Yeah.
Now, if they did that on the road, it would be the winner. It's the road for me always because when you go on the road and you can like portray the dominance, like you when you have mind control on the road, that's scary because sometimes, and the way these playoffs work, if you don't lock down that home field advantage throughout, Guess where you're going to have to win, John?
Yeah, you got one on the road.
You got to win on the road. And so not only did the 49ers win on the road, they dominated on the road, right? I would say that at the beginning of the game, it was paced, and then things happened, unfortunate events, and the 49ers clicked the switch, flipped the switch, and next thing you know, it was pure domination and on all three phases or all four phases if you want to include coaching as well. And so when you when you hold a team to 3 points in their home stadium, that takes the cake for me.
Yeah, look at Pepe. He says, this one was more surprising because they won 5 straight. And they got to keep going back to, like, all right, you beat a 6-2 team off a bye week at home after they won 5 in a row. Like, you're just checking a lot of boxes. You know what I mean? Like, the Cowboys are a good football team, and I think the Cowboys are probably better than the Jaguars. But the Cowboys always fail to show up in big-time situations. That was a Sunday night football game. Lights are on. Cowboys ain't made for that. The Jaguars were, we all throughout, Jacksonville was incredible. We had a great time. The city was great. The fans were great. Lots of good trash talk, but nothing too bad, which was really cool. That's what you always want. But, man, they were saying, like, man, 5 straight, won 5 straight. We'll see. It's going to be close, going to be close. This game was never close. This game was never close. I think it was 10-3 at one point, and then the Niners scored on back-to-back drives to end the first half and start the second half, and that game was done. D-U-N. The third quarter, it was over.
Mm-hmm. The way you spell is perfect. I think I was more impressed just watching the stadium be empty and at like 11 minutes to go in the third quarter. It was just like, damn. Like, all right. You know what the 49ers did in this game? And I'm a huge fan of Mortal Kombat. It's like Mortal Kombat over Street Fighter for me, right? They literally Shang-Tsung'd the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Your soul is mine.
Mine. Like,
It
literally.
was bad, man. And, like, the stadium was ours. Like, we're looking around. That was the cool thing. We got friends to our left that we were hanging out with the night before. Matthew and May are over there. They come hang out. Will and the group comes over. They're, I think, North Carolina or South Carolina guys. Like, we had, like, a party in the stands.
Right.
Like, during the game.
Right.
And it was just, like, everybody was just cut because there were empty seats everywhere because they all left. It reminded me so much of the Charlotte game last year, but Charlotte was a dog team that was about to fire their coach, trade us their best player, give us, their awesome DC and all that stuff. So, like, you did that to a 6-2 team. Yeah, I don't know. I hate the Cowboys the most. Everybody knows that. But this game for me was a big deal, was a huge deal. Now, and this is something that I kind of want to talk about a little bit because you put out on Twitter, shout out to the man Wayne. If you don't follow him on Twitter yet, you got to go do that. He says, there's 3 areas the 49ers still need to improve in to remain dominant. And so I want you to kind of walk us through these 3 things that you highlighted because I agree with you.
Okay, we agree. That's cool. It's cool when we agree. Number 1, third down offensively. And I guess you could say defensively because it was quite even because the Jaguars had the same percentage, right? And so the 49ers offensively have to be better for me on third down. And they could do it in small increments, right? Like, so if they went 33% in this game, I'm hoping the next game at home, they bump it up to 50%, right? And then the game after that, they get to 75%. I know I was asking for a lot, but at the end of the day, the Niners got to be better on third down. I'm tired of them getting silly penalties and getting off the field. I don't want to see Mitch Wishnowsky punt the ball. I want to see first downs. And I will say this. My voice isn't fully back yet. I will say this. That the Niners have so many options for third down conversions, it's not even funny. I don't care if it's Jawan Jennings, which I miss. You can add in Ronnie Bell. Ronnie Bell had one of the biggest third down conversions in this game and maybe of the San Francisco 49ers season, and that was it. Like, so it lets me know that Kyle is still experimenting. Like, I don't want to say fishing or searching. Kyle knows exactly, but he's still experimenting with some key pieces. Also, there's other ways to get other third down conversions, man. Like,
Run the
even
ball.
There,
Run
okay.
the ball.
There we go. Okay.
Run the ball.
I knew you were waiting for that, and I knew you were going to co-sign it. I knew you were going to
running the ball is my favorite thing in football. It's my number one. 3rd and 4 run play.
I knew you were going to complete me. I just did. Like, that's what you do. Like, I knew it. Like, I felt it. And I'm tired of saying it, but the Niners got to be better. Like, they got to be better. And listen, 34-3, blowout, cool. We still got to be better. That's number one. Number two, 7 missed tackles is still too much for me. And some of them were the majority of them for the secondaries. But, Deommodore Lenoir probably had his worst game. And I don't think I think it came down duly to the new role that he had to play. It was not off and on, outside, inside for him. It was all inside for him. And he just missed tackles. Had the receiver in his grasps, tried to one-arm tackle, dude bounces off. It can't happen. Deommodore Lenoir, I don't know if he's like a great tackler. He's more like a hit stick guy. He's got to erase the hit stick from his memory because you will give up explosive plays. Believe the Christian Kirk explosive play was on a missed tackle. And so the missed tackles are a problem. Fred Warner, the first one, John and I, we, didn't disagree. I think we both agreed to it. It was a tough tackle for Fred to make because it looked like he was going for the ball.
Yeah.
But they're going to count it as a missed tackle because it was like bam, bam. He was there in the coverage. It was right there. Great throw. Great coverage. He just kind of went for the ball, dove in, and then didn't get the tackle. But then he had another one in the game as well where he kind of like bounced off these guys. And listen, football players are shifty, slippery. They have to find a way to bring them down. And the majority of the missed tackles came in the screen game. I probably could have put that in there. But missed tackles, they got to do better. 7 missed tackles. And then the one that messes my mother freaking mojo up the most, I'll take 4 for 12 every game on 3rd down if the Niners stop getting silly penalties.
Yeah. The penalties, and they always happen early on the offense. And when they do, like, the game started off perfect. I went through, I've got the first half offensive breakdown up on our Patreon and the 49ersrush.com. And man, offense was cooking. It's just you had that pass interference against Ayuk, which was pass interference.
It was a push. It was a push.
And I think why he got called is because he pushed off in the end zone on that touchdown, and they didn't call it. They worked the refs, and then a drive later, they do call it there. And so that's kind of the way that it works. So, yeah, I'm with you on the penalties. Now, I'm also with Steven over here. Don't bother me. Can we capitalize off turnovers?
We absolutely can.
4 straight weeks that absolutely the defense has caused a turnover, given the 49ers offense the ball on the positive side of the 50, and you walk away with 0 points.
Well, what happens, though, Steven, is that the Niners end up with a big hold penalty, which puts you now behind the down the distance, and then Kyle runs 3 straight pass plays, and none of them are screens. And so, like, you get to the play calling, and you say, God dang, come on, Kyle. Why can we get screened up, but we can't screen somebody up? You got the option here. Or just run the ball. Like, all right, for example, on the offensive PI play, right? The next play, what do we do? Throw it again. So why are we throwing on 1st and 20 when you could run it? I take 2 yards over no yards, right? 2 yards, 2nd and 18. It's still 2nd and long. Now you can run another intermediate play where you can set up your personnel and possibly get half of those back. And now you're on a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7. And it makes it more, easy to try to get or convert that 3rd down. And that's why the Niners struggled on 3rd down, in my opinion. So the play calling will always be somewhat of an issue in those situations. Now, execution is another thing which you can add. That could be number 5. But I thought the 49ers executed rather decent in this game. It's just when you get a penalty, it changes up the whole. I mean, John, what's the play on 1st and 20? What is it? Like,
you don't go empty set and get the quarterback hit.
Ooh, you were pissed? I'd never seen John angry.
I get mad at empty sets.
Oh my God.
I don't mind the empty set if it's a quick hitch or a quick read. Ooh. I get really upset in an empty set, meaning no running back, no fullback, nobody's behind there, just no threat of running the ball, and you do a 5-7 step drop. I hate that. I do not like. That's not who we are. We're not Patrick Mahomes. We're not slinging whatever.
Even Patrick Mahomes in an empty set, he's still going to find a way to improv it a little bit. Brock Purdy's still not. That's not him. He can improv, but he's not the Patrick Mahomes innate improver where I'm going to hike the ball for 3. I'm going to run around for a couple of minutes and then find somebody to get open and pray that we get a penalty flag. That's not Brock. And when you saw the empty set, I said to you, John, isn't the defense just going to play pass?
And they did. They all backed up and they all made their alert calls and they teed off. And yeah, I almost heard the wire come out right there.
It's a long,
Corey, what's up, man? Corey,
happy birthday, Corey.
Dude. How cool is that? It was awesome hanging out this weekend. You guys were incredible. Marcus, I saw you in the chat earlier. I mean, we met so many cool people this weekend. And, Frank Gore was awesome. My thing that I get most excited about is seeing other people have memories. I want to get to know people better. It was cool. This is a good weekend. Thank you, Corey. And happy birthday, brother. You deserve it all. Now, let's talk about the defense. Let's flip over. The defense was epic. Absolutely incredible. And I think that it started with the D-line, obviously. There were 57 total defensive snaps. Listen to the snap counts because I think that this is so important. Mm-hmm. Nick Bosa led all D-line, 37 snaps out of 57. The previous week, he played every damn defensive snap. Now he got 20 off.
Rest.
So the rotation, Nick Bosa, 37. Hargrave, 37. Chase Young, 35. Armstead 34, Kinlaw 24, Givens 24, Farrell 22, Randy Gregory 21.
It's confusing, John.
Go ahead. Let's talk about it.
Well, just at the snap count, right? So Chase Young didn't play in that first series. So that was 3 snaps. So how did he end up with only 2 less than Nick Bosa and Hargrave, who played on those 3 carries? I might miscount. I don't know. It seemed like after that first possession, when Armstead got his sack, that's when you started to interject that Chase Young energy and things like that. I agree with you that the defensive front was the key to this game. It allowed the secondary to tee off and play different, and we said that. We said the key to some good secondaries, if you don't have the superstar-studded guys in the backfield like a Patrick Surtain or a Kyle Hamilton or those guys that stand out, like, that are top, like you apply the pressure up front. And I thought rotation is key for the San Francisco 49ers. If Nick Bosa can stay effective with less snaps, man, no wonder he stayed fresh in this game. And then you look at the interior, and I'm hoping Eric Armstead's foot is going to be okay because Brandon Sheriff is probably one of the dirtiest players in the NFL. Called him out on him too. He did call him out, which Armstead has 0 problems calling people out.
You said it, not me. I was trying to behave.
And so I like that from Armstead, though. He's starting to be vocal. I'm starting to get a dog from Armstead. But no, seriously, I'm starting to sense the dog in him. But nah, think about it, though. And so, I'm like, yo, the rotation is crazy. And you're seeing production, right? And it reminds me, I keep saying it, if the Niners, first of all, it reminds me of that Giants defense in 2007 because they just stayed fresh. Tom Brady
and all those guys rotating.
Yo, my God, Tom Brady didn't know who was hitting him at what time. And regardless, it came down to what it came down to. Tom Brady was pressured the whole game. And so, when you got the greatest quarterback of all time, arguably being pressured the whole game from guys he just can't. Who that? Where he come from? That's what the Niners are doing. It's not even that they're trying to confuse you. They're just trying to stay fresh and healthy. And health is wealth. And so that's what I'm getting from this defensive line. And I can't wait to see how they're going to play at home against Tampa Bay.
Oh, that's going to be fun. And, it's funny because I want to talk about 2 things. I want to stay on this D-line conversation. Don't Bother Me says Bosa's supercharged having Young out there. It was the best Bosa's been. This is his best
That was his best game.
By a considerable margin. Now, Akash, who does great work always, he's one of the best tweeters out there. He says his pressure to sack rate for the 49ers defense this year, the highest that we had was week 1 against Pittsburgh, 20.8. We had a 0 sack rate, pressure to sack rate against Minnesota, 18 against Cincinnati. We had the highest 45.5% pressure to sack rate. They finally finished. They were finally affecting the passer. And I don't know.
Well,
Go
can
ahead.
we add in the simple fact that Trevor Lawrence was the second best quarterback with quarterback release time at 2.2 seconds? And so when it was Joe Burrow. All these quarterbacks get the ball out of their hands quicker than 2.4 seconds. All of the ones we played, maybe except for Kenny Pickett and maybe Daniel Jones at the times when we played them. But the other quarterbacks were getting that ball out quick and fast in a hurry. And the Niners' pressure was there, but the sacks weren't coming, right? So they were getting to Kirk Cousins, but they just couldn't get him down on the ground as effectively. When you add Chase Young to that equation, there's no more just doubling Nick Bosa and doubling Hargrave. On the first sack of the game, like if I know you watched the film, first sack of the game, they weren't even double teamed. They couldn't even max protect. They thought they could and they couldn't. They couldn't max protect. You know who they doubled? They doubled Eric Armstead. Who got the sack?
Yep. And that's the thing. Like back-to-back weeks, Armstead's been getting the double teams. Back-to-back. He got 17 double teams in the first half against the last time we played, the Bengals. Keep doing that. Go ahead. And I know that's like the quote-unquote plugger role in our defense where we put him in between and it's like an automatic call to double them based on his alignment. But teams that do not adjust for the outside edge pressure, that is on them. Want to say thank you to Gold Blooded. Appreciate the super chat. He says, didn't get to watch the game in full because of the daughter's softball game. You're a good dad. That's what's up. Kids first. But seeing Demo was in the nickel, was that all game or certain packages? Yeah, I mean, so the corners, the outside starting corners were Demo and Charvarius Ward, which I want to talk about Charvarius Ward here in a minute. Whenever it went to 11 personnel and we went nickel package, Demo kicked in, Ambry Thomas came in on the outside. And I want to talk about all three of these guys. So, Wade, your pick first, Demo, Ambry. I want you to take your Michigan guy. Come on, man. You deserve that. Talk about Ambry.
Yeah, so Ambry, it just, this seemed kind of like rookie Ambry Thomas, right? Second half of the season, the button flipped. It's the light bulb clicked, switched. However y'all look at it, it just turned on. Now, I will say that his assignments were a little different. I saw a lot of press man from Ambry Thomas in this game, which is his comfort zone. A lot less off, giving up the underneath, a lot more press man. Now, does he struggle with moves and quick twitches? Yeah, but you know where he is? Around the ball. Like at the end of the day, if he's giving up the catch, he's making the tackle. And then on that one play, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 66 point whatever percentage, 66.6. Cool, no problem, right? Not a problem at all, because on that last one, it was fumble-rooski. Like, he didn't give up on the play. He was playing the inside, which means he wasn't going to give up that. So the out of bounds lines where the guy had to go, he couldn't get out of bounds. Ambry didn't give up. He kept scrapping, and you can't ask for more. A better play from a defensive back. Pulls the ball out of his hand. Let's talk about after that. After that, he picks the ball up. After that, he returns the ball, and he finds a way to stay in bounds, and then gets all the way. It was super slow motion. If you guys know the story of the tortoise in the hair, he was definitely the tortoise. Even though he had speed, but I think he was so tired by the time he got that ball. But he found a way into the end zone. Unfortunately, it was called back due to the team being on the field during the time and interference, which is a penalty. Yeah.
Can I play the Shanahan clip?
Absolutely.
This is Shanahan talking about the players getting on the field and coaches as well.
Was I one? Yeah. No, I would have been mad at whoever did it. No, I was mad at myself, and I thought the play was over. We couldn't see, and everyone jumped up. And so when that happens, you're getting out there to start to congratulate people coming back, and they're not coming back to congratulate us. They're running back at us. So everyone got it. We know the rule, definitely. We know you can't go on the field. I personally thought the play was over. They ran right by us, and it was very unfortunate because it's a good learning experience for our team. We do show that stuff, but it was short-lived because we ended up scoring. So we can live with it, but good learning example for us.
Tough.
He would have trashed everybody. And the funny thing was, it was 3 rookies and Kyle Shanahan.
Right.
It was Ronnie Bell,
D.
Winters, and Jair Brown and Shanahan.
Yeah.
And like that's a rookie excitement. thing, which I'm glad that they're excited to get on the field for special teams. But yeah, that was sorry. Ambry Thomas, I would like this conversation to continue. I didn't want to cut you off.
I just thought he definitely played the best game all season long that he was asked to do. I got to go back and watch the film. I thought that the Niners were in nickel on the first play. So
they were.
I think Ambry started on the outside, whereas Deommodore Lenoir started inside. Not saying he didn't take any outside snaps. They didn't test Ambry Thomas, and they didn't have the time to test Ambry Thomas. And like I said, Ambry, Steve Wilkes at the beginning of the season has this, affinity for a player like Ambry Thomas. There's something about Ambry Thomas' skill set that Steve Wilkes likes. The only thing from Ambry Thomas is his mental and his confidence. And maybe this is a game that boosts up his confidence a little bit, just like his rookie year. Just like his rookie year where he had that one game. He kind of struggled against Cincinnati, but then he had a game against the Tennessee Titans. The Niners lost that game against the Titans. But after that, Ambry kind of skewed up. You get the big interception against the Rams. Next thing you know, Ambry Thomas is starting outside. And so, look, they went with those two guys that they drafted, right? Ambry Thomas and Deommodore Lenoir. For Deommodore Lenoir, which you'll be able to take over, I thought the switch was cool, but I just think that, not saying he wasn't ready, he struggled a bit in the slot, and it's that position. I expect every offense, I expect them to attack our defense from the slot. If you're telling me that this pass rush is back and that the outside corners can cover their men, I feel like they're going to have no choice but to attack the slot because it's the most quickest way to get a ball out their hands. And I think I would like to see Deommodore Lenoir there more if they're trusting Ambry Thomas, because I guarantee you the more he plays it, the better he'll get at it. That's what I'm trying to say.
And, I'll say this too. My Ambry Thomas take is this. He gave up 2 catches on 3 targets. No problem there. 0 yards after
the catch. Yeah.
That's he's doing his damn job. You get that going and you force a turnover. That's positive on positive. Now, Demo played well outside. Demo struggled whenever he went into the slot. And people don't want to hear this, Wayne, and we've talked about this for 2 years now, way back with Jimmy Ward last year. Playing the slot is the most difficult position on the 49ers team. It's number one. It's the hardest offense, defense, because we play inside leverage and we don't put safety help over the top very often.
Thank you.
So it's just difficult. When Demo went inside, he struggled. But I don't even think that this is done. I think that this was a matchup move. Kyle said that they're going to continue to evaluate the slot nickel spot week in, week out. Playing against the Jaguars, where they have all slot wide receivers and a slot tight end that's not really big and tough. I do think that Isaiah Oliver will still get some play against bigger, tougher run teams because he is very, very good against the run. Even this year where he's been torched in the pass game, he has made some great plays against screens. He has made some great plays against the run. It's just coverage, which is a problem. I'm not trying to say whatever, but I don't think that this is currently a permanent move at the slot position. I think it's a matchup-driven game, and if you play some of these more physical, run-heavy teams, I think Oliver could get some snaps in there. But, man, here's my thing that nobody's talking about. Charvarius Ward allowed 0 catches. 0. They targeted him twice. That's pretty damn good.
It is pretty good.
0?
And we can still be we could still have that conversation. He's handsy, and he's gonna get called for these that 5 yard rule. It's just weird, right? And so can he play more press so that way he's just physical at the line of scrimmage, maybe to negate that defensive hold, because that 5 yards is what's really killing him. But I gotta shout him out because he broke up a touchdown play in the end zone, and they only got 3 points. Whoa! All right, man, you can call me for a penalty, no problem. It's gonna break up the touchdown play and call it a day. And this is what you got him for: the long arms, the PBUs. You didn't get him for interceptions. You didn't sign him for any of that stuff. You signed him for PBUs, and that's who he is. I feel like Charvarius Mooney Ward can start a PBU, university and people will sign up because he just has that gift to break up plays, to be in the right position. Now, he does get some penalties, and it's going to happen to the discretion of the officials, but I thought he played a really good game.
I did too. Now, we've got a really good question talking about Chase Young long term, how the world that's going to work out. We're going to talk about that. But before we do, let's pay some bills. Man, we had a good week betting this week. When your money's on the line, choose a trusted sportsbook that gives you tools to win, like MyBookie. And MyBookie doesn't matter if your team's up or down. You can easily cash out or bet the game live to come out on the winning side. Use MyBookie for daily odds boost, same game parlays, I like teasers, and take advantage of the huge prize pool contest. Plus, MyBookie currently has a no strings attached cash bonus that lets you deposit, withdraw quick. Carries a one-time rollover. Can't find that anywhere else. Just use promo code 49ers, 49ERS, or scan the QR code on this video right next to my face here to claim your own cash deposit bonus now. That's promo code 49ers. So try my money bag. You basically roll the dice and it picks a team and gives you extraordinary odds on who's going to win the Super Bowl. Lots of fun options there. So bet anything, anytime, anywhere, and I do mean anywhere. Wherever you are, you can bet with MyBookie. Just make sure you use the promo code 49ERS, and let's go. Let's make some money together. All right, here we go. Shout out to the man Flynn. He says, question for you guys. Would you rather re-sign Young and trade Ayuk, or re-sign Ayuk and let Young walk? I love Ayuk, but I'm leaning Young right now. And I'll be honest with you, I do think that Young's going to cost a little bit more if he continues to play this way. 49erscap.com, which awesome site. They did like a projected contract for Young, and it was like 4 years, $22 million a year. I think Ayuk would be a little bit less than that. I need to look up a projection there. But if we're just operating off this very simple trade Ayuk, keep Young, or let Young walk and keep Ayuk, what are your thoughts, Wayne?
It's definitely a hard decision, right? Because when you look at Brandon Ayuk, he may be the true number one wide receiver that the 49ers haven't had in a long time. But I'm starting to question, is that what this offense is even built off of? And I know that Kyle Shanahan, I know that John Lynch really care about the trenches. And if it isn't an offensive lineman that's going to help them keep moving forward, or a defensive guy and Chase Young, like we're talking, I think everybody in the faithful really like what we saw on Sunday. And I think everybody's starting to understand that you can't block them all. And if they have the opportunity to keep Chase Young in this building, I think that they go for it. And I would actually take Chase Young over Brandon Ayuk. And this is not a shot to Brandon Ayuk, but I feel like the Niners offense is just built off of guys who can catch the ball and make something happen. And when you still got Deebo Samuel, maybe Ronnie Bell could turn into something like that. Like as a route runner, they have guys in there, and then they can still address the wide receiver position in the draft. They got a first round pick, they got a second round pick, and so they got to find a way to get some money, to be cheaper going forward in the future. I say put the stock on the edges. I thought the rule was you pay edge rushers, you pay left tackles, right or left, and you pay the quarterbacks. I thought that was the rule. And the reason why you're paying a guy like Christian McCaffrey and like Deebo Samuel is because those guys aren't running backs and wide receivers. They're weapons. Is Brandon Ayuk a weapon, or is he just a true number one wide receiver? I don't think this offense is built for a true number one wide receiver. If it was, Brandon Ayuk wouldn't be having 55 yards per game. Like, that is, they would go to him every single freaking play as they can. Now, this is not a shot at Ayuk, John. I'm shutting up because I'm going to tell you right now, Ayuk is open on every play. Every play. He's a dog. He's a blocker. He's this. He's that. But can the 49ers offense continue to groom wide receivers like that and find special things in those wide receivers? I think that's the replaceable piece that the 49ers are going to look to replace, and it's unfortunate, especially if the production of Chase Young continues to trend upwards.
Yeah, I just looked up on Spotrac what Ayuk is projected, 20 million. So, pretty close. 22 million for Young, 20 million for Ayuk. And, Greg says if they sign Young, that'd be 100 million a year invest in that defensive line. That does not bother Shanahan or John Lynch. I don't know if you meant that as a negative. I don't think they see that as a negative. And, the notorious GAV, shout out to Kyle Juszczyk touchdown. I was thinking about you, brother. He says pay Ayuk. There's not a wrong choice here. My thing is, you ever see Radio? You ever see Radio?
Absolutely.
Whenever they ask him what type of pie he wants, what type of pie you want? Both. I want both.
Right. I want both. That's my answer. But you told me I had to pick one.
I know. I'm cheating. I got to bend the rules here. If it's either or, part of me wants to, I'd probably keep Ayuk, his track record, his longevity, in-house, doghouse. He's ideal. You remember when they drafted him and it was COVID year and Kyle Shanahan high-fived nobody? Yeah. You remember that?
I remember.
Like, this is Shanahan's dude. Now, and again, I've said this about Ayuk in the past. The last 3 weeks did not do Ayuk favors. When Debo was out, Ayuk could have elevated and been that guy and made a lot of money, and he did not. He played well, but he didn't do what they needed. So I don't know, man. I'm hoping you can restructure some stuff. You can figure some stuff out. This is a great problem to have, and I can't believe we're talking about it after this game, but that's where our mind goes. We saw something that we loved. We got it on the cheap. We want to keep it all. You got to finesse some stuff, and maybe it's not an Ayuk or maybe it's not an Ayuk or what's it called? Young conversation. Maybe there's some other areas
Trent
that
Williams.
can change.
Maybe he retires. Maybe
Trent.
Yeah,
Kyle
maybe you move on from you. Oh my gosh, you took the words out of my mouth, right?
So we don't know.
Right. We don't. And this is not, I don't want people to say, Breezy doesn't want Ayuk. No. I absolutely do. But if I had to pick one, like, I really like I really love the defense teeing off the way that it does. I'm so used to not seeing a Jerry Rice in this offense. Like, I've gotten accustomed to it. And I'm not saying Brandon Ayuk can't be that, which I feel like he can, but is this offense built that way is the question. The offense is built for the quarterback to get the ball to the open man. And yes, does Brock and Ayuk have the right chemistry? Yeah, they probably have the greatest chemistry probably on the team. But if I had to pick one, I'd rather put the money into that defensive front and let them keep teeing off and having other people get opportunities to score. Ayuk is going to Ayuk gets open so often, but is he giving you the score production that you need? Who's scoring the more of the touchdowns? Is it Ayuk? Is it Debo? Is it Christian McCaffrey? Is it George Kittle? There's so many options and weapons here. Can they replace an Ayuk inbred right there at home with some of these guys that they drafted? Or do they look to use another pick to hold them off for another 5 years and a wide receiver with their first round pick? There's so many options.
There are.
Would you take the defensive end in the first round or the wide receiver in the first round? You could do both. You could do either one, I'm saying.
Yeah, and part of me says I want to choose left tackle. That would be my ideal
right. You get what I'm saying, right?
But not at losing Trent. And I love this. Paul, Big Papa, says I don't choose between Chase or Ayuk. I choose Prague. I love it. And I got pulled up the cap hits for next year. There are things that you could do. Trent Williams is the biggest one. You don't restructure him, obviously, because he's like almost on the back end.
Correct.
But Armstead's restructured more than I can count. Debo would be the obvious one to me. Correct. You think Debo can continue to play for another 3 years? You could tack on another 2 years and take that $28.5 million cap hit down to about 12. That's pretty easy to do. You extend them 2 years, $6 million a year, add a void year on top of it. Now you're getting dangerous. Can Debo's body hold up for that long? All that kind of stuff. But Fred Warner's not going anywhere. You could definitely extend that and push some there. Like
George Kittle's getting older too.
I don't know if you want to do that with Kittle or not. I don't know. He did it for free.
That's what I'm saying. Deal. Do you move on from Mooney Ward? Because you got these young guys there.
There's options.
There's options.
But
that's why Big Papa says I choose Parag. And I agree.
Yeah. And you know, you look at that Nick Bosa cap hit next year, $14 million.
It's not
Like,
bad.
that's not bad. That is really, really not bad. And right here, Vince, he says, yeah, restructure Debo and Warner, keep both. There's a way to do it. But you're starting to get into the whole territory of superstar, superstar, superstar. And if you're hitting on the back end of the draft, that's great. We don't know because we always redshirt our guys. Maybe Ronnie Bell, who's been the IU guy. I mean, do you want Ronnie? We know Ronnie Bell can block. He had a great 20-yard catch this game. I was sitting next to Wayne. He about busted my eardrums. there is Wayne, and there is Wayne with Michigan players.
I feel bad for
Wayne with chicken wings, and all of them are level 10.
Yo, you didn't have tacos once this weekend. I felt bad for the people in front. They were like, "Who is number 10?"
Oh,
like,
he screamed it out.
I felt really bad.
Oh, all right.
I felt bad.
Yeah, no, that's all good. It's all good. So I don't know. We'll kind of see how it goes. And you know, just because I said something bad about Kyle Juszczyk maybe retiring, I wanted to get to this question to try to appease the notorious GAV. Do we still need to feed Kyle Juszczyk juice more? And it was so cool when he scored the touchdown and everybody starts chanting juice.
I mean, the whole stadium.
There was a very sweet young 49ers kid there and goes, "Why are the 49ers fans booing?" And the dad leaned over and goes, "No, honey, his nickname is Juice. They're going Juice." And like, I saw her face light up. It was just so cool. It was just like, oh, this is like a Norman Rockwell football faithful setting. So yeah, let's talk about Kyle Juszczyk, because I thought he had one of his better games.
I think with everybody there intact, I think you get to feature him more in him being the utility jackknife. When everybody's not there intact, I mean, just on the first series, I'm watching Juszczyk just handle motions like a champ. Like, are they going to cover him? Is he going to block on the run? Is he going to do this? And I will say that I think Kyle Juszczyk is probably the third best run blocker on the team. Like, literally. Like, and what do I mean by that? Just the way that he's able to get out there on the edges, the way he's you got Trent Williams, you got George Kittle, you got Kyle Juszczyk, like, to me, in that order. And when they use Juszczyk, they need him out there. And I think they've been needing him to do that. But when you got everybody else together, you got everybody intact, I feel like now you can start hitting them with the oozy juicy. And now you can start utilizing Juice. And because of the way that they utilized him throughout the game, when those motions were in check, that defense was lost in the juice sauce, just like we were, because we didn't know it was going to Juszczyk. And then you get your touchdown. And that's what I like. He's best in the passing game opposed. He's a better pass catcher than he is a runner, because when we run him, we're running him up the middle, and he doesn't have the speed to get to the outside zone. He's not a powerful running back, but they got to use him. To answer this damn question, find a way to use Juice. That's how I look at it. Juice is good.
Yeah, my favorite thing is there was one play where Kyle lined up. Juszczyk was split out wide. Debo was the fullback. You motioned Kittle to the fullback spot. McCaffrey was in the slot, and it was just like, figure the hell out of that one. Like,
it's a Rubik's Cube, John, every time.
Gosh.
When the 49ers offense is intact, it's a Rubik's Cube puzzle.
Fun,
if guys get that reference.
It is fun. Yeah. Now, I do want to take a minute out and just say about our next trip. Two things. There is no home tailgate party this weekend for the Bucks. I'm going to be with the UK Faithful chapter, with them at the game, trying to spend time and just cultivate that relationship with some amazing people, trying to just foster better relationships. So I apologize for that. No Bucks tailgate for the 49ers Rush Road Trip this week. Next week, I am beyond excited about this one, Wayne, because this is going to be I'm bringing the whole family. I never get to bring my family. The wife's coming out, the kids coming out on a road trip. We are going to be at the Press Box in Seattle. It used to be Tony T's. It's changed ownership to a much more 49ers friendly bar now. And we're taking this over. So we're going to be there the night before, which is going to be awesome. That starts at about 4:30. And I'm waiting on the instructions for the 49ers team plane. Alex and the 49ers Faithful chapter in Seattle, they always welcome the team plane when they land in Seattle. So we're going to try to do that. Then we're going to go party Night before, it's the Wednesday party at the press box. And then the day of, this is going to be epic. We are doing a Thanksgiving Day style tailgate at the press box, and it's going to be packed. It's going to be awesome. We're going to start at 2 p.m. It's 1 block south of Lumen Field. Go get your tickets, 49ersrushroadtrip.com. Come party with us. Wayne's going to be there. We got the whole Rush team coming out. I'm pretty excited about this one. Last year, Seattle was crazy, Wayne.
It was amazing. And then the walk over to the stadium was fun.
That was cool.
And it was cool because you had the Seahawk fans that attended the event, and they were adamant that they were going to be good until they weren't. And so, like, it was a really cool experience. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I just want to beat the Bucs first. I don't even want to look past the Bucs. But the experience at the Rush Road Trip, it doesn't matter where we go or who we play, the experience is always too legit to quit. Yeah,
we together. That's what it is. Now, I feel bad because we haven't even talked about the man who I think probably might have had the best game, Brock freaking Purdy. How do we get this far without talking about the quarterback? Because I really think Brock Purdy played incredible, one of his better games.
The Brock is hot.
The Brock is hot. Greg says Purdy is a gunslinger that has elite anticipation and a beautiful mind. I think that is beyond well said. And NFL on CBS put out this crazy stat. It says Brock Purdy career NFL ranks since the merger. Now there's 339 quarterbacks who have at least 400 attempts. Of all of those, Brock Purdy is first in passer rating with a 108.9. Any quarterback that has over 400 pass attempts ever in the history of the NFL since the merger, Brock Purdy's first quarterback rating, completion percentage first all time, yards per attempt first all time, pass touchdowns per attempt first all time. I know stats can be manipulated. I know Brock has one of the smallest sample sizes of all those 339 quarterbacks. But damn, Wayne.
I just smile because there are a lot of people that want to be down on him. And that's fine, right? Like every player deserves constructive, which is the key word, and then criticism. So if you're going to be down on a quarterback, explain why. Explain why. I thought for the very first time in my life, Mike Martz in the 33rd team, they put out, it's on my Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Check out the video. He said Brock is the real deal. And I think now we understand why. Look, if you even go to those last 3 games where we took L's, those were 3 different ways, 3 different losses in 3 different ways. And yes, Brock turned the ball over in each one of those games under 3 different scenarios and 3 different circumstances. Like, it's so many different variables. Why couldn't he just be a quarterback that needed to learn from those mistakes?
Yeah.
Then you come out here in this game with his offense intact. And it's not that Brock needs Debo, needs Trent Williams, needs these players to win. It's just a better situation for him because now his brain, which I think is highly advanced, can operate. Some people struggle in certain things, and then you give them that complicated stuff, and it's like easy to them. But you give them the simple stuff, and it's just like, it don't work. I'm missing the complication part. I'm missing all that type of stuff, right? That's Brock. And so you watched him come out here against Jacksonville. You watched him have some off throws. You watched him have some miss. When I say miss throws, clearly he could have hit an open Debo Samuel in the flat or CMC in the flat. One of CMC's passes in the flat was late, which didn't result in any yards. Like, of course he could have hit that. Brock's looking down the field. He's waiting for his guys to get open, and he just has to get that his pocket will collapse at some point when the offensive line just isn't intact. People are coming at Brock. But look at how he finished this game. And it's not always about how you start. It's always about how you finish. And there's one thing to me, I don't care about any of these stats, that separates Brock from a lot of these quarterbacks, a lot of the great quarterbacks, a lot like the Josh Allens, those guys, is the fact that he has something called the it factor, and you can't measure it. It's unmeasurable. He just has a gift. He is not built like a typical pro-type quarterback. He is Brock Purdy. Win or lose, He goes out there and he just does some amazing things. Didn't like the
is.
intentional grounding, but damn it, he was trying to make a play. Like
He was.
he was trying to make a play.
And, you know, I agree with what Hammer says here. Brock is great. We just got to see him bring a comeback win, like come from behind. We haven't seen that yet.
I don't want to see it. I'm going to be honest with you. I like when we're ahead.
I do
and
too.
everything. But you're right. When that situation presents itself, he needs to find a way to help get his team over that hump. And we almost had it in Cleveland. Almost. You know,
he did everything he needed to do.
He did everything. He just, you know, Jake Moody under pressure, freaking icing the kicker. He struggles. That's where he's struggling.
I want to play one more Kyle clip. And I think one of my favorite things about this is, has Brock been different in these 3 losses versus this game? And I would say through 3 quarters of all 3 losses, no, he was the same guy. But listen to Kyle.
I mean, I think he's been playing the same way all this time, and you don't feel it from him at all. That's why I kind of been, you know, I know he's had some turnovers here and there on our losses, but you know, you ask anyone who's watched all those games and stuff, he was one of the best players on the field in those games, and you're always responsible for those turnovers. But Brock, there's none where you're sitting there saying he's taken too many bad decisions. That was one, definitely. It's going to happen with guys, but I love having a guy who isn't thinking about that. He's trying to make the right decisions, letting it rip, and he'll live with the consequences and try to get better when it's not.
Yeah, and so I love me some Brock. He was the number 1 rated player. You know, here's my
148.9.
Yeah. My favorite thing. Listen to this, okay? When Brock Purdy was blitzed, okay?
Here we go.
He had a 145.8 passer rating. When Brock Purdy was not blitzed, he had a 148.4 passer rating. It's like, what the hell do you want to do against this guy? Because he was just dynamite. You look at the plays where he threw the ball over 20 yards, 6 for 6. He hit every one of them. Perfect passer rating, 6 first downs, 158.3 passer rate. That's perfect, by the way. I mean, 3 touchdowns. You look at the average depth of target for Kittle and Ayuk, both of them were over 19 yards. That's average. The dude's slinging the damn ball, man.
He's definitely slinging it, and he takes risks. And sometimes, you know, you got to be a risk taker. And sometimes it turns out great, and sometimes it's not going to turn out great. And even in those situations where it looked like he was forcing passes and he ends up with those interceptions, his processing was to get the ball down the field to the middle, which he's really comfortable throwing. He doesn't really care about the coverage. It's just that his balls were too high. His passes were high and they sailed.
They got to drop. They got to drop.
They got to drop, right? And so like, good comeback, John. Way to clean that one up. But like, you know, look, everybody has a different way of dealing and learning through their mistakes. The key is, can you overcome and learn from your mistakes? And now, if Brock lost 3 straight, and then he come in here and had a dominant offensive play, right? Dominant. It's safe to say that maybe he's learning from these mistakes. When I talk about his it factor and that innate ability to just play football, okay, so in certain scenarios, Brock is going to struggle. Cool. Well, the more he sees those scenarios, you have to say he's going to overcome it. It's the same way I feel about Jake Moody. These players are young, and they are in like the greatest stage that they can ever be in, and we want them to be like machines when they're not. And at some point, they're going to mess up. The question is, are we going to beat them when they mess up? Or are we going to constructively criticize them so that they can find a way to go out there and be better and correct themselves from their mistakes? And that's what we watched Brock did. And Jake Moody hasn't missed since. And so, like, I don't care how close it was to a miss. It didn't miss. I don't care how close that play that Brock was to an interception. It wasn't an interception. So maybe the next time Brock doesn't throw that pass. Maybe the next time Jake Moody kicks a better field goal. I don't know. But my point is, they got to continue to keep doing it. The more they do it, the more it becomes like muscle memory. Y'all know that.
I'm to the point now, and, you know, Wayne, we were sitting next to each other. When we kicked a field goal, I was like, hell yeah, I love this.
Yeah.
Like,
You said something I never expected you to say, and I ain't going to repeat it on here, but I was like, oh, snap. You said Jake Moody has been great. That's what you said.
He has been. And so has Brock Purdy. But what's the question with these younger players? Pressure situations, they're just different. And I'm not saying that they can't do it. I'm just saying they haven't been asked to do it very much. That's time's going to come because when you play football and in the NFL, it's weird as hell this year. It is weird as hell this year. You see the Ravens go out there and have about the best first half you could possibly have, being the best football team maybe in the NFL, and then lose the second half in a game that was blown out. Like, the NFL is weird as hell. It's just weird. The freaking MVP race has CJ Stroud involved. Where did that come from? And he belongs there. Like, he's played that well. Like, things are weird and things don't go your way. And so the Niners, including Jake Moody, including Brock Purdy, including Kyle Shanahan's play calling, at some point will be tested. And you got to figure out a way to come out on top. We are going to have more games dependent upon Jake Moody. We're going to have a game where Brock Purdy has to come back in the fourth quarter. I hope those things come as sooner than later.
Correct.
I want more of those opportunities now to galvanize what their skill set is so that when you get to the playoffs and those things happen, that's okay. We've been here. We've done this.
Yeah, we have to figure out how to continue to be battle tested and overcome those challenges, those physical challenges, those mental challenges. And so maybe Jake Moody is showing us that he's overcome those mental challenges. It shouldn't matter. I've never watched Justin Tucker kick those balls straight down the middle every single time. Some of them skew to the left. Some of them are skewed to the right. Some of them he misses, and he's a vet. This kid's a rookie. These guys are going to make those mistakes. At the end of the day, the question is, can we support them? Can we push them to overcome it? Now, I'm not telling people not to be scared. That would be silly of me. Yeah. You should be scared. We've never seen it before. Absolutely. We should be worried, scared, whatever. I think my goal in life is just to look at it from a different perspective. And if he misses, oh, well, shake that junk off, get back out there, kick it again. If you miss it again, oh, well, shake that junk off, out there, kick it again. Now, That's how we have to look at it. Like, if the 49ers lost this game, would we give up on this team after they lost 4 straight? Or would we be trying to figure out how to pump this team up so they can just get back to winning?
I love it. And this is the most accurate comment I've ever heard in my life. Jake Moody looks like Nick Mullins' brother, and you can't tell me otherwise. You are exactly correct. I'm
not going to tell you otherwise.
That is fun. I wish I had both their face pictures. I could put them up here right now. It's interesting. But this team, and we didn't say this, we're wrapping up this show. When the 49ers play to their potential, they are the best team in the NFL. The best team. The most complete team in the NFL. The issue is, it's happened once in the past month, right? So can you start to win some of those games when you're not at your best? That's what we're going to have to see. But, man, Wayne, I'm pumped. Still kind of overcoming all the sleep deprivation and alcohol-infused whatevers. But, man, it was such a great weekend. And if you're a Niners fan, you should be pumped right now, and you should be excited because great things are on the horizon. We are now into the chunk of our season that will determine everything. The Bucs game's important, but then you've got your 3-week killer stretch where you got Seattle, Philly, Seattle. That's going to determine the division. It's going to determine the number 1 seed, the number 2 seed, number 3. It's going to everything. So this month, buckle up. It's not all going to be roses. It's not all going to be blowouts.
Or it could be.
We'll see, man. I hope is.
I tell you what. You said if this team plays their way, it's all good. I'm going to say if this team stays healthy, it's all good. So you put the 2 health and play their way, it's going to be really hard to beat the San Francisco 49ers on the road or at home. And I'm not being a homer or being uber confident or whatever people like to call it. We just know who our team is. We've seen the potential. We know that they can go out there and just find a way to be dominant in all 3 phases of football, right? As well as have fun doing it. So when you look at the San Francisco 49ers in this next stretch of football, I mean, Brandon Ayuk said best, man. November football, December football is where it all happens and it's where it matters. They got through October. It's over with. You put that page behind them, and you look forward to the new chapter. We're 1-0. Leave it at that.
I love it, man. And yeah, Alberto, I think this play was really, really cool. He said, did you see Kyle celebrating when George Kittle touchdown before Brock Purdy even threw it? Kyle's seen it happening before he is. And that's the thing. Like, Kyle is so damn smart and he understands all these things. You know, I just finished the first half breakdown, and one of my favorite things was it was 2nd and 1. Kyle figured out this play would work off of first half play because it was 2nd and 1. He motions a couple of times, figures out there, and man, they did it twice. And then Kittle said this, then we'll take it out after this.
You know, what's fun is you come in at halftime and you sit down as an offense and Kyle brings up like, hey, these are the 8 to 10 plays that I want to get ran this half. And that play was the second play of the half, and that was not on those. That was not up there. And, I don't know if Kyle talked about it, but he's like 2nd and 1, they always go man coverage. And so motion over there, we're in 22 personnel, so 2 tight ends, 2 running backs, and a wide receiver. And it gives me a one-on-one versus a linebacker, which I'll take that any day of the week versus anybody. So it was a great call by Kyle to get us in the right play, and it was exactly what we wanted it to be. It was exactly how we drew it up. So I'm just, thankful that Kyle called that play.
And so, yeah, like when the decision was made, Kyle knew where he wanted the ball to go when he called the play. When it was 2nd and 1, Kyle knew, just do this. And Purdy stayed in there, took a huge hit, and just freaking floated it. It was perfect. I mean, whenever you have the quarterback, the protection, the route, the matchup, the play call, the situation, he had the answers to the test before he called it. That's why he celebrated. That's why he knew.
And, Ed put up a comment before we get up out of here. And I said this last night on Nitty Gritty Niners. It was the same play call from the Super Bowl. Now, George Kittle pushed off on both of them. One was called pass interference. And this one wasn't because they knew those. But at the end of the day, it was the same play call, just different throwers, same person receiving, same result. One was just called back. This one wasn't. So you know what? And the most impressive part about that George Kittle touchdown was Brock staying in the pocket to the very last second. And I'm sorry, that pass was all arm. Ain't nothing wrong with that kid's elbow ever. It was all arm. It was all arm. No leg step into the throw. It was, I'm pushing the ball and you're going to go whatever, how many yards I need you to go in the air. And the ball was just like, it was a float.
It was up there, man. That was so fun, man. So thank you guys. Really appreciate all the support. Come party with us in Seattle, 49ersrushroadtrip.com. Wayne, thank you. We'll be together Friday. We are doing a show on Wayne's channel, which I'm super pumped about that. We got Steph, John, and Wayne in the morning, 8 a.m. Wayne, take us out, man.
Guys, you've been faithful. And it's starting to pay off. Continue to stay that way. The 49ers are back. They're stronger than ever. They're faster than ever. They're more furious than ever. The Niners got a long stretch ahead of them. Let's pump them up, faithful. Stay strong. We love you. Until the next time.